Many thanks for staying with us. The Special Advisor to the President on Niger Delta Affairs, Professor Charles Dokubo, has given youths in the Niger Delta region the assurance that no one will be left behind in the youth empowerment agenda of the present administration. He said this in Bayelsa State during the official flag-off ceremony of the Empowerment and Business Starter Pack distribution for the Presidential Amnesty delegates. It's a moment of celebration in Orubiri community in Boro Town, Bayelsa State, as indigents welcomed the Special Advisor to the President on Niger Delta Affairs, Professor Charles Dokubo, to the official flag-off of the empowerment for the beneficiaries of the Presidential Amnesty Program. The initiative is aimed at empowering youths who have had to grapple with low self-esteem because of socio-economic deprivation. In the program, a beneficiary of the program in 2016, Mr. Amadi Gabriel, an indigent of River State, narrates his experience so far.
The Amnesty program empowered me with only 2 tasks. But today, I have about 12 tasks. And I'm controlling 25 fishes.
For former Secretary to the Bayelsa State government, the youth must show restiveness and embrace peace to enjoy the benefits of the amnesty program.
Let us come together and work together with the government of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the government of Bayelsa State, the government of River State, the government of Delta State, and indeed the government of the entire Niger Delta, so that we can achieve the purposes for which the amnesty program was established.
Before presenting the starter packs, Professor Charles Dokubo, who doubles as the coordinator of the scheme, told the beneficiaries to make use of the opportunity.
As I start on this program, all of you will go back home happy and know that you have been strengthened. We are going to work tall and compete with other Nigerians wherever they come from. Niger Delta people, we are not lazy. We only need opportunities. This is the opportunity you have.
The beneficiaries are optimistic that the gesture will go a long way.
Definitely, we are going to use this empowerment very well, because this is a lifetime opportunity.
The initiative aims to advance the quality of education as well as professional skills of young men and women in the region. It is also believed that the intervention will strengthen the peace in the Niger Delta. In Plateau State, 11 inmates have been discharged from the prisons in Jos through the intervention of the state's chief judge. Their acquittal is part of the state's criminal justice administration. 2 others in Pashkin prison who could not meet their bail conditions were released. They regained their freedom following court sessions held at the prisons during the visit of the chief judge.
Our main purpose of going to the prison is to find out those people that are not supposed actually to be there. One, some of them were granted bail but very harsh conditions. So I went there to see that I relaxed the conditions. Some of them have been refused bail completely. So I went there and found out that they were refused bail. Why? If I'm satisfied that there were no good reasons for refusing bail, I granted them bail. And the other categories are those people that some people that have been imprisoned, either nobody to bail them or they have refused bail. They have been there for so long. And they found out that their case, even if they are convicted, if they are found guilty at the end of it, the time they are spending in detention is more than the time they would have served the jail sentence. Plateau State is the only state in the country, as I said, that has more convicts than waiting trials. And I'm so happy with the work the judiciary is doing, because it means that the judiciary is working very hard, because it now means that they're disposing of their cases. But where you have more waiting trial than convicts, it means there are many cases pending in court. By waiting trial, it means somebody whose case has not been finished. So those are really convicted, their case has been finished.
The governor of Cross River State, Professor Ben Ayade, has received the concept design for the construction of the proposed Bokashi deep seaport from the Chinese firm handling the project. During a 3D presentation of a team of Chinese engineers led by Mr. Jason Wang, Governor Ayade announced that full-scale construction work will begin as soon as the rain stops. The governor explains one of the special features of the Bokashi deep seaport.
Government of Professor Ben Ayade, and indeed the people of Cross River State, have focused on creating an alternative income by decoupling ourselves from our overdependence on federal government allocation. It is against that background that the Bokashi deep sea port with an evacuation corridor is born. The special advantage of our Bokashi deep sea port is its access to a wide armada of great opportunity via her evacuation corridor. And therefore, I will call on the patience of the people of Cross River State, the commitment of will, and the prayers of everyone to ensure that this noble project come to its realization. And once government, which is the client, gives approval to this, a detailed design will be ready in no distant time, and construction work will start at the onset of the next dry season. It is my wish, it is my hope, it is my aspiration, it is my prayer that the people of Cross River State must rise beyond the boundaries of politics and focus heavily on the future of our young people.
The acting president, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, says the federal government will not condone any form of monopoly by business merchants in the country. Professor Osinbajo made this comment when he visited the Lador facility in Lagos to support the local content capacity at the Free Trade Zone location. He explains that the government will continue to ensure that the private sector drives the nation's economy.
Touching down on Lador's helipad already indicates the crowning joy by a company's management. Nigeria's acting president, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, has come calling. After the welcome by top functionaries, he's led to a brief tour of Lador's premises, where a world-class project is already happening. Guests, Lador's management and the acting president settled into some fact check. First is the managing director of Nigeria Ports Authority, speaking on the abolishment of monopoly in the industry, which is paying off on Lador.
The success of the Egina project has shown that ease of doing business and the federal government's anti-monopoly and level playing field policy has yielded great results. It also further gives credit to the federal government's local content policy, a multiplier effect evident in employment opportunities, capacity building, technological transfer, cost savings, reduction in capital flight, as well as the attraction of oil and gas hub to Nigeria and the sub-region.
Under their watch, private sector will drive Nigeria's economy. Monopoly would not be allowed, in addition to the resolve to support local businesses and capacity.
The President has also signed two other executive orders, Executive Order 3 and 5, on local content, emphasizing the need to have and emphasizing the requirement that wherever local content is available, we will use local content. And also, especially with respect to local skills and capacity. That's Executive Order 5, very detailed. And I think that Lador, this facility, and the partners have shown that this is really the way to go.
Lador couldn't be more grateful for policies of the current government.
The success of Lador shows what Nigerian perseverance, hard work, and dedication can do in a regulatory environment that is free and fair, so that competition can take place and Nigerians that add value can thrive.
I would say that Lador is on course to generate 50,000 direct and indirect jobs. Let's focus on the indirect. In order for those indirect jobs to be created, there needs to be 10 jobs for every 1 job we create here. What that means is we need more indigenous investment.
Lador says as the largest 100% indigenous Nigeria investment in port facility, Nigeria has become a hub for Africa.
And on business news, Kayode will be telling us what analysts are predicting before the MBS releases the July data.
Well, that's right, Melinda, and you're welcome to Business News. Nigeria's inflation rate is expected to decelerate further in July, marking the 18th consecutive monthly decline. According to forecasts from research and investment advisory firm Financial Derivatives, Year-on-year inflation is projected to dip to 11% in July, bringing it to a 2.5-year low, while month-on-month inflation is seen lower at 1.04%. Similarly, research arm of FSDH Investment Bank also expects headline inflation rate to drop further to 11.01% in July from 11.23% earlier recorded in the month of June. The Bureau of Statistics is expected to release the Consumer Price Index and inflation report for the month of July on August the 15th. Niger crude grade differentials have fallen this week as they compete with cheap and abundant supply of Mediterranean, North Sea and U.S. crude on offer. Now, according to a recent industry survey, the local grades are reported to have traded between 20 to 30 cents higher, and that's due to favorable simultaneous purchase and sale conditions as major traders struggle to sell crude from floating storage. In the meantime, nearly 40 cargoes of Nigerian crude are still available, while new loading programs are expected to be issued come next week. And moving on now, the central bank has injected about $327.4 million as well as 69.70 million Chinese yuan into the interbank retail secondary market intervention sales. The spokesman for the CBN, Isaac Okorafor, says the amounts which targets demands in the agricultural and raw material sector were done through a combination of spot and short-tenured forwards, while the Chinese yuan is expected to ease pressure on the forex market. The financial regulator on Tuesday this week injected about $210 million into the interbank foreign exchange market to meet demand by customers across various segments of the FX market. In the meantime, CBN's total intervention have so far reached $23.794 billion, and that's since it began its intervention at the forex market in February 2017. Let's now head over to the fixed income market, where the Central Bank of Nigeria will offer 33.38 billion naira worth of bills next week. Now, this will be made up of 3.38 billion naira of the 91-day, 10 billion naira of the 182-day, and 20 billion naira of the 364-day bills. Meanwhile, activities in the Treasury bills market were bearish this week as lower system liquidity weighed on sentiment. Average yield rose 19 basis points to 11.99%. Investor sentiment was negative across the short and mid ends of the curve, and there was contraction at the long segment. Analysts at Cordros Capital expect a reversal in the bearish trend next week on the back of anticipated healthy liquidity. And at the bond market, the Debt Management Office plans to offer 90 billion naira worth of FGN bonds to the market next week. The auction scheduled for Wednesday, August the 15th, comprises 25 billion naira of the April 2023, 25 billion naira of the March 2025, and 40 billion naira of the February 2028 reopening. Average yield rose 23 basis points to 14.09%. Yields are expected to take a cue from primary auction stop rates in the coming week. In the meantime, trading remained bearish this week amidst sell-offs by foreign investors as rising political tensions over the upcoming general elections next year weighed heavily on investor sentiment. And that's Business News Tonight. Many thanks for watching. I am Kayode Okikiolu.
Many thanks, Kayode. And still ahead of the news at 10, Barcelona star Gerard Piqué confirms decision to retire from Spanish national team to focus on club football after making 102 appearances. That's on Sports News. Stay with us.